If you ever looked at a top tier Fortnite player and wondered how they got so good, so mechanical, so fluid in every single situation, I want to let you in on something that most people overlook. Mastery doesn't happen by accident. It's not a byproduct of time alone. It's a result of a process, a cycle that great players go through whether they're consciously aware of it or not. And today, I want to break down what I call the three-phase method to mastering any skill in Fortnite. This applies to whether you're trying to improve your aim, master piece control, become a better IGL, or learn how to win stacked endgames. Every single thing you can get better at in Fortnite falls under this method, and if you follow it with intention and consistency, I guarantee you'll grow in ways that make your current self unrecognizable in just a matter of weeks. The first phase is one most people breeze past way too quickly, or they don't even know they need it. It's the input phase. This is where you take in high quality information. It might seem obvious, but if you don't have a clear and accurate picture of what good actually looks like, then everything you do afterwards is just you repeating flawed habits. Watching top tier pros analyzing your own replays and even just sitting back and breaking down high level gameplay without distraction, this is where you start planting the seeds of mastery. But you can't watch passively. You need to actively absorb the intention behind every move, every edit, and every rotation. What's the logic between how they pre-fire corners? Why do they build a certain way in mid-game? What are they avoiding? What's the trade-off? This isn't just entertainment, it's actual education. But here's the thing, the input phase is only as good as your focus. If you're zoning out or watching half the screen while scrolling on your phone, you're not internalizing anything. It's like trying to learn how to fight by watching Rocky on mute. Useless. So in this phase, your job is to identify exactly what skill you want to develop, be it aim, awareness, or endgame rotations, and then find the absolute best examples of that skill in action. Your brain needs clarity before your fingers ever touch the keyboard or your controller. Once your brain has started to recognize patterns and understand what success looks like, we move into the repetition phase. This is where most people plateau, because this is where most people stop being intentional. Repetition is not the same as progress. You can repeat bad habits 10,000 times and just get better at being bad. So in this phase, you need to train like an athlete. That means focusing on specific sub-skills, isolating them, and building muscle memory in a controlled environment. You don't get better at triple edits by doing full ranked games. You get better by entering creative, setting up a simple map or routine, and drilling the same sequence over and over until your brain no longer has to think about it. And this doesn't just apply to mechanics. If you're trying to improve your IGLing, repetition might mean calling mid games and ranked with a duo and reviewing what worked and what didn't. If you're learning how to take smart fights, repetition could mean entering 1v1 realistics over and over, testing different things, angles, and movement options. The difference between someone who improves quickly and someone who stagnates is that the former always knows where they're practicing and why they're practicing. They don't just play, they actually train in the game. But repetition can be frustrating, and that's where most people mentally break. You'll make mistakes, you'll feel like you're regressing. Your edits might even feel worse than when you started. That's actually a sign you're rewiring your brain. The awkward phase is the adjustment phase, and it's a required step before breakthrough. Think about how awkward it felt the first time you tried to edit with scroll reset, or when you first changed your sensitivity. That discomfort is progress in disguise. In this phase, your job is to embrace the frustration and keep showing up. Track your progress if you can. Even a simple before and after comparison of a routine or a review session can show how far you've come. But no matter what, don't rush through it. Don't bounce between too many things. Choose a focus, grind it, and don't stop until it's second nature. Only then are you ready for the final and most important phase. That final phase is the application phase. This is where you take everything you've internalized and built through repetition and begin testing it in real time, unpredictable environments. This is where ranked matches, scrims, tournaments, and even other stuff start to matter again. But here's the secret. The application phase is not about winning, it's about refining. It's where you take the tools you built in isolation and test them under pressure, fatigue, randomness, and resistance. And just like in real sports, game speed reveals weaknesses you never notice in practice. Maybe your timing is off under pressure. Maybe your decision making slows down when adrenaline hits. Maybe your mechanics collapse when a fight becomes chaotic. That's not a sign to panic, that's your feedback. Feedback is the entire purpose of this phase. Now instead of guessing what you need to improve, the game tells you directly. And that brings you right back to phase 1. You review what went wrong, input better examples, go back to repetition with more clarity, and re-enter the application loop with sharper tools. This cycle, input, repetition, and application, is how mastery is built. Not by grinding 12 hours a day with no structure, not by mindlessly copying pros, not by bouncing between trends or YouTubers or metas hoping something will stick. True mastery is deliberate, it's thoughtful, it's a never-ending feedback loop that constantly sharpens your understanding of the game and your own mind. And when you do it right, you start to feel it. The things that once felt difficult become automatic. The skills that used to require your full attention start to happen on instinct, and that's when the real growth starts to snowball. Let's say you're trying to master aim, probably the most sought-after skill in Fortnite right now. In the input phase, you'd study pros with insane tracking and shocking aim. You'd break down their crosshair placement, peak timings, and movement during fights. You wouldn't just watch highlight reels, you'd watch full fights. You'd take notes, you'd start to notice things like how they control the fight tempo, how they line up shots before exposing themselves, and how they never panic even when they whiff. Then, in repetition, you spend time in dedicated aim trainers, both inside Fortnite and outside, like Kovacs or aim labs. You'd isolate your weaknesses. Maybe your tracking is solid, but your flicks are a little bit sloppy. You'd drill those flicks specifically. You'd practice holding angles in realistic situations, and in application, you go into ranked, test your confidence under pressure, maybe even play in tournaments just to stress test yourself. Afterwards, you'd review your clips, see where your aim broke down, and feed that back into input. That's how mastery builds layer by layer. Or maybe your goal is to become a high IQ IGL. That's less about raw mechanics and more about understanding time, space, and your communication. So your input phase might include watching VODs or top tier IGLs like Queasy, analyzing how they rotate, how they position their teams, and how they predict enemy behavior. You notice when they decide to tarp low ground versus play for height. You'd see how they manage materials in chaotic endgames. Then in repetition, you'd hop into zone wars or even bot scrims and force yourself to call everything. Rotations, layer changes, refresh targets. You record your calls and compare them to what actually happened. You'd work with a consistent duo or trio, developing chemistry through repetition. Then, during application, you'd put all that to the test in cash cups, FNCS qualifiers, or even ranked endgames or scrims. And you'd make time to review every game, not just the bad ones. What went right is just as important to understand as what went wrong. The beauty of this method is that it applies to every player at every level. If you're a beginner, you can use it to build a solid foundation. If you're an intermediate grinder stuck in mid-ranked lobbies, it'll help you break through. And if you're already cracked and chasing turning placement, it gives you the structure to refine the little details that separates top 500 from top 50. It's a way to bring order to chaos of improvement. It gives you a map, not just motivation. Another key aspect to keep in mind is that your body and brain need time to adapt. You can't expect immediate results just because you learn something new or tried a new routine. Mastery is a long-term commitment. It doesn't happen in one season. Sometimes it doesn't even happen in 1 year. But if you stick to the process, if you trust each phase, you'll become the kind of player that others start watching and asking, how did he get so good? And the truth is, you'll know exactly how. This method isn't easy. It's not a cheat code or a viral trick that every creator talks about, but it works. And what separates the people who get what they want in Fortnite from the ones who burn out or give up is simply this. The people who succeed understand that progress isn't something you feel every day. It's something you build whether it feels good or not, whether the motivation is there or not. It's in the discipline. They show up to every phase of this method like it's a job, because in many ways it is. If you want to reach your full potential in Fortnite, you need to treat your development with the same seriousness you treat anything you care about deeply. You don't have to do it alone either. That's why communities like the Flow Improvement Hub exist, so you can find teammates, coaches, and free resources that make each phase of this method way easier to manage. Whether it's customized drop maps, VOD reviews, or training maps tailored to your goals, the Flow Discord is stacked with tools to help you move through input, repetition, and application faster and more effectively. This grind is yours, but you don't have to walk it solo. There's a link in the description if you want to join. But at the end of the day, Fortnite mastery comes down to this: awareness, discipline, and feedback. Awareness to know that needs work, discipline to repeat it with intention, feedback to refine it through real gameplay. That's the loop. That's the truth, and the longer you stay in that cycle, the better you get it. It's not flashy, it's not a secret, but it's the formula every pro has followed whether they realized it or not. You can start today. Choose a skill, study it deeply, train it with purpose, apply under pressure, then do it again and again and again. If this helped you or gave you clarity on how to improve in Fortnite, let me know in the comments what skill you're currently trying to master. Drop a like if you found this valuable, and subscribe for more high-level breakdowns like this one. Also, after you subscribe, make sure to hit the little notification bell and hit all notifications so you guys get notified when I post a new video every other day. And if you want to support the content, don't forget to use code FLOWN in the Fortnite item shop. Every little bit helps, and I appreciate you all more than you know. Keep grinding, keep improving. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch my video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I love you all. Peace, guys.